Alright, 405th, so this is Sigma again, making a short little sort of helmet test fit vid, kind of the different parameters to control, how these things fit on your head. So, especially for you, Ithaca, the Rogue helm. Now, I guess we'll go ahead and start with the one that fits the best because it's actually designed that way. The Blue Realm Mark 6. I mean, I would have some more examples, but I'm too lazy to take stuff out of my display case right now. So, what you notice here, though, is the visor is basically level with the front of the face, right? Nice and straight, doesn't lean back or anything. And you notice that the helm overall is pretty vertical on the sides going to the top. It doesn't get narrower at the top or wider at the bottom. So really probably the best design out of all the ones we got because this thing was sculpted. It wasn't based off a 3D model where a lot of times people don't care so much about fit and those type of things. Now moving on to the Rogue next, you notice how as opposed to the Mark 6 it gets narrower toward the top and wider toward the bottom. You also notice that the visor itself is set pretty far back in there. And if you just look at the literal distance to either side of the visor, so I've got my light source in my hand, I'm trying not to break it but also get some good lighting at the same time. Alright, let's see if I can do this. Alright, so you can see from here to here, it's not a huge distance, it's maybe 6-7 inches, but you have to cram your head, essentially your temples, between those two because of course the visor sits inside of this even a little bit closer than anything else. The other thing that you look at, let's see if I can do this, is that see the back here? Alright, so you can see the space between the visor where it enters the helm and the back of the helm. So your melon pretty much has to sit in this entire area right here, and all of this is open space. That kind of presents a problem. So this guy actually has sort of minimal padding. That's kind of why I have this extra light source in here so you can see this a little bit better. You see it's just got a couple little extra pads around the neck so stuff doesn't jab you, and a couple things to keep the top of your head in there. But you really have to kind of jam it on, and even then, want to make sure that your chin's not showing, and that's sort of the biggest issue with this guy because if it really sat on there too comfortably, the proportions would be way out of shape. So you kind of have to jam it on your head for it to work, but I'll kind of show you how that fits. Alright, so you can see with the helmet on how this thing sort of fits on your head. It's jammed all the way down, but you can see that it just barely covers the chin area. And even though this thing fits pretty well, it's by no means perfect. So it's a really close shave right here. But in order to keep it proportionate, this is the way the helm has to be. And that's pretty much what you're stuck with. So that's always something to consider. Especially, I mean, this thing's sort of normal size. If you make it much smaller, or if you have the visor area really narrow or the top really narrow, I mean, that's probably not going to fit as well. But just a few different factors to consider anyway. So just kind of moving on for the sake of completeness, you see the Mark 5 here is a pretty decent design. It's pretty vertical all the way from bottom to top, and of course Dave, Flying Squirrel, did a really excellent job on modeling this based on the game models. But the one thing, and this is just the game model itself, how it's designed, you notice one of the problems you have here is big slanted visor. Big slanted visor means you're not going to be able to put your face up near as close because your head's really sitting right about in here. So it looks like you got lots of space, but really you've got something about like that, which is why again the Blue Realm sculpted helm really fits much better than most everything else. You also notice that the helm is very wide, so if you made it to fit down really comfortably on you, then it looked like you were wearing a big bucket on your head, and you don't want that. and you can see there's actually still a bunch of little guts and things hanging out here. I have a just minimal padding. I need to rehook up. I had an Xbox Live mic in there for a while, and it's sort of hanging out. The fan system, the lights, all that other good stuff, just kind of jammed in the back of the helm, but not a lot of padding. I do have a rubberized undercoating on the inside of this, so that way, you know, it makes things a little bit softer, and you know, just kind of looks cooler. But I've never really had a lot of problems with it. However, if you add a little additional strain to it, that could make a difference. So we'll explore what that looks like in the ODST here in a second. Now, the ODST helm, you notice is it's got really good proportions, a little bit narrow, but the main problem you can see here is actually, and this is just again due to design, nothing about the artist, but the visor is pretty narrow. So essentially, where your head's going to have to fit is from here to here, and that's where your temples are going to have to sit. So you're really not looking at the total width of the helm. And also, because of that, your head's going to have to fit mostly in this back part of the helm, right in here. So that's not a whole ton of space. And because of that, this thing has extra minimal padding, especially, you know, I've got a big round head, so you can see the inside, right, well, as of right now, I may improve it a little bit later on, has pretty much just rubberized undercoating. Make it a tad softer. So just a couple different varied shapes. Of course, you know, I've got 10 tons of Mark 6 variants, and you know, they all fit pretty good. And I just wanted to showcase some things that were based on design and not actual artist, I should say. So probably one of the most comfortable designs, most modular designs, is Sean's helm, which I get off my lazy butt and get it out of the display case. I'd show you guys, but it the thing, like they say, it's really modular. You can make it shorter, longer. It's got great padding and stuff in it, and you know, so I would definitely try to bid on those molds and things, you know, if I had the cash for it. But really high quality stuff. Sean always makes real quality stuff, so you know, if you guys are interested in that, definitely put a bid in on it, or you know, look into one of his last kit runs, because I mean, you guys are really missing out on a good thing. But anyway, that's all I got to say. Have a good one.